Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Savana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we are in the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sloka number 3, and we have seen in the first two slokas how it is. Just a minute. So how it is like the hearing is the very very important and primary process, that is there in the this one in Krishna consciousness or in the Bhakti Yoga. So the seventh chapter onwards, primarily the Bhakti Yoga is discussed. So even in the other chapters that we saw, there was the quoting of Bhakti Yoga. Though Krishna was speaking about different yoga systems, he was always emphasizing on Bhakti Yoga. Like every chapters, the conclusion of most of the chapters actually come with Bhakti Yoga. So now in the seventh chapter onwards, exclusively the Bhakti Yoga is discussed. So in that first two slokas we saw about the importance of hearing, how that is the most and very powerful tool for advancing in Krishna consciousness. And in fact, today in the morning japa session, we were discussing on this aspect that we may have, especially now the book distribution month is going on. So we are focusing on distributing a lot of Bhagavad Gitas. So even for that, we cannot just think of these things while chanting. Now, when we chant, we should exclusively focus on the names of the Lord. And when the Lord is pleased, by His mercy, we will be able to do so many wonderful things. No, but if we are not able to focus on the the names of the Lord, so it is not very good. So we will not make much of advancement. The focus on the sound vibration is really very important, and that we saw in the first shloka of this seventh chapter. Tachshinu, Krishna is telling that now hear from me carefully, right? So this is very very important. Okay, now let's see the third sloka. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatham api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvatah. Okay, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Purport. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is the self, what is the body, and what is absolute truth. So here we see that Manushyanan Sahasreshu, so out of many, many thousands of human beings, Kaschit means like someone, very, very few people, no, very few people. It's called as Kaschit. And Yatati Siddhaye, so like they will be like, going towards the aspects of understanding these things, what is self, what is body, and what is absolute truth. So these, to get to know about these things are, is called as a siddhi, right? And then generally mankind is simply engaged in animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. So now we see most of the people in the world are busy doing sense gratification, and very very less, very gine chune log, no, we can see that very very less number of people are actually interested in Krishna consciousness. So this is No, we can very clearly, Krishna is telling, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye, right? Yatatam api siddhanam, no, amongst all these, of those who so endeavor, and then kaschin mam veti tattvataha. So amongst all those rare souls who trying to understand what is a spirit, what is matter, and what is the supreme lord, very very few people know mam veti tatvatah. So that means like know me in truth. No, it is very very difficult. Such people are very rare. Hmm? Okay, here we read. So the first 6 chapters of Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super self, and the process of realization by jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. So that means there is different kinds of yoga that is given in the first 6 chapters, and it is meant for this transcendental knowledge. What is the transcendental knowledge? Just before this point, Prabhupada mentions that to know the difference between body and soul, and to understand about the Supreme Lord. So that is like this one, that is like the transcendental knowledge. So, but then still more further is what? However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. So this is bhakti. Bhakti means to know Krishna directly. So just to know that we are spirit, and who is the Lord, and Lord is maintaining everything, and Lord is providing everything. So that is not sufficient. So still we are only able to understand the person in a functional way. We are not able to understand the person in a very personal way. So here we see that, however, Krishna can be known only by only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists, other transcendentalists means the other yogis, jnana yogis, karma yogis, dhyana yogis, and all. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna, or this is a lower goal than understanding Krishna, right? So that's why these jnana yogis and dhyana yogis, so they can go up till liberation. They can get out of this material world, but until unless they understand Krishna, they'll not be able to get to the Vaikuntha Loka. And from this Sloka, we can see that out of thousands of men, few aim for perfection, and out of those few, only very very few will actually attain the perfection of understanding Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme person, but at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of impersonalists, Sripad Sankaracharya, has admitted in the Gita commentary that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Right? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishnaha, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. It is very difficult for non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. This is an accusation that has been made upon the bhakti yoga. Or this is like, no, people like children, they will follow these things. People who have some little more capacity, they will follow jnana yoga, or they will follow meditation or something like that. So, no, Ashtanga yoga or something like that. And people who cannot do anything, they will follow bhakti yoga. No, so people tell like that. So because it is like, it's very very simple. What do they do in bhakti yoga? They just like bhajan karte rehte hain, so they don't do anything significant, right? So that's their mistake. No, the bhakti yogis, they are also quite knowledgeable. They are also quite well versed in scriptures, and they are also very expert in meditation. And their expertise in meditation is so amazing that they cannot forget Krishna at any point in time. So this is really very powerful methodology, right? So anyway, so these people, they simply say that, oh, this bhakti yoga is like silly people, like they just bauk, some sentimental people, like they just do something. So that's how these other yogis, they see the bhakti yoga. So if the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up to the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpathaya Iva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in the society. Right? So Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Vina. So these are all the guiding forces. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, and Pancharatra. So these are all things are very, very essential. And within Vina, without these rules and regulations or without the guidance of these entities, Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir, no, like devotional service to the Lord, no utpataya eva kalpate. It only creates utpat. It only creates disturbance in the society. Right? It is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Muhyanti yat surayaha, mam tu vedana kasyana. Right? So these are all some of the statements that is mentioned. Muhyanti yat surayaha. Even great personalities, they get bewildered. They cannot understand Krishna properly. And mam tu vedana kasyana. That means I am, nobody knows me. Krishna is telling. No, mam tu veda. Veda means like to know. No question. So like, it's no one knows me as I am, right? So the Lord says, and if one does know him, then sa mahatma sudurlabha. So it's like vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So like one who understands that who is Krishna, then he is called as Mahatma. And Prabhupada many times he says, this word Mahatma cannot be used here and there. Just like this, the Lord gives the definition who is Mahatma. Mahatma means one who understands Krishna and engages in Krishna's service. So all other people are short-sighted people who doesn't have the broad vision to accept that one supreme Lord. And some people, they accept the one supreme Lord, but they will not render service to him. And they will think that desh bhakti to desh bhakti is equal to like Krishna bhakti. So that is not the proper thing, right? So they will equate everything with everything else, or they will cite Krishna's words and they would want to achieve their own end. They would want to achieve their own goal. So they would not bother about what Krishna wants to say. They want their goal to be achieved, and they may use Bhagavad Gita sometimes, and they'll just propagate their goal. Right? So here, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So it's Mam Tu Vejana Kashana. That means like nobody knows me. But then if somebody knows me, then he is Mahatma. It's like Sudurlabha. So Durlabha means like very, very, very rare. And Sudurlabha means like very, very rare. It's not that easy. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is tattvataha, in truth, right? Even though one is a great scholar or philosopher. Only the pure devotee can know something of the inconceivable, transcendental qualities in Krishna. His being the cause of all causes, his omnipotence and opulence, and his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. All these things are different transcendental qualities of the Lord, right? So these things, no, the non-devotees cannot understand. So So only pure devotees can understand, because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization. The devotee alone can realize him as he is. Therefore, it is said, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhaved Grahyam Indriyahi. So that means by research work, can somebody know about Krishna? So it's like difficult. Okay, let's make a project and try to understand Krishna. So let's do some research about him and we will understand Krishna. So it is mentioned, Atha Shri Krishna Nama Adi. So like Lord Krishna's name, form, pastimes, qualities, and things like that. What is that? Na Bhaved. No, it is not possible. No, what is not possible? Grahyam, to understand or to grahan karne ke liye, indriyahi, through senses. It is not possible through my senses to analyze and understand Krishna. Sevon mukhehi jivado. How do we understand then? By the medium of service. We do service. Sevan mukhohi jivado. So starting with the tongue has two business. One is to vibrate and another is to taste. Right? So two things has to be used in the service of the Lord. So we have to vibrate holy name of the Lord and we have to accept Krishna Prasad. If we do this, Swayam eva spuratyada. No, Swayam eva means only on its own. Swayam eva spuratyada means like it actually manifests in our heart on its own accord. The bhakti comes on its own accord or by the mercy of the Lord. And that mercy can be triggered by sevan mukhahi jivadu. Right? So starting with the tongue and then no all other senses have to be utilized, but primarily the tongue has to be utilized. So if somebody is not taking prashadam and somebody is not chanting the names of the Lord, he cannot make any progress in Krishna consciousness. So that's like the first and foremost primary thing that is there. So sevan mukha jivado swayam eva sparatyada. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. No? Okay, so Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 234. This is okay. Text 4 is a very, very famous sloka. No, and 4 and 5 we often keep quoting these slokas. So this is the entire energies of Krishna he is mentioning. So this fourth and fifth shloka actually gives us idea that everything that exists in this whole creation belongs to Lord, right? So Bhumir Apo Anala Vayuhu Kam Mano Buddhirevacha Ahankara Iti Yamme Binna Prakritir Ashtada. So says Bhumi is earth, Apa is water, Anala is fire, and then Vayu is like air, and Kam is like ether. And then Mana, Buddhi, and Ahankar. No? So all these things, how many are there? Ashtada. 8 of them are there. And then Iti Yamme, that is Binna Prakriti. No, this is separated energy of the Lord. No? So these are all the separated energy of the Lord. So this, it just covers everything in this world, right? So apart from this, there is nothing else is there. So everything is covered completely. Now, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together these 8 constitute my separated material energies. No? Purport. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti or energy of the Lord in his different Purusha incarnations or expansions, as described in Narada Pancharatra, one of the Satvata Tantras. Pancharatras are used for basically this deity worship. When we have to do deity worship, we have to follow the Pancharatrika system or the Agama system. So the Pancharatrika system is applied for what is that? The people who are not coming from Brahmanical background, who are taking on to the practice of Krishna consciousness as a lateral entry. It just comes as a lateral entry, or not lateral entry. What do they call? Like you have diploma and all, right? So after doing diploma, you can actually get into the college directly in the second year or. Huh? Okay, so directly, like you don't need to go to the first year and things like that. You directly get into the second year. Huh? Wildcard entry, something like that. So it's something like this. Pancharatrika system, actually speaking, in the normal system of Varnashrama, if person is Shudra, he has to do his work nicely, and then if he's flawlessly following his Varna and Ashrama, then the next lifetime he will get the opportunity to become a Vaishya. And if he does this job very nicely, then he'll become a Kshatriya, then he'll become a Brahmana, and then he can think of going back to Godhead and things like that. But the Pancharatrika system is something like a live wire system. Immediate shock, immediate treatment is given. So how is it done? No, the elements that are used, the Pancharatrika system, it actually mentions that directly be engaged in the service of the Lord and 24/7, right? So be engaged fully in the service of the Lord, and Lord is the live wire there. You can just like purify the thing completely, purify the system completely. So that is like very, very powerful. So the Pancharatrika system is considered to be very powerful because it can elevate even the people like Chandalas or even very, very downtrodden people, whatever maybe the class of people they are. If you apply Pancharatrika system on them, and if they agree to become a devotee of the Lord and fully devote for chanting and like doing devotional service 24/7, they can just be purified immediately. That's the live wire system. So this is the Agama systems, like the other systems which are there. The the systems of the Varnashrama system, the general system. So they are very, very slow. No, lifetime after lifetime. It's like many, many lifetimes planned, is there. And then they may come like after a long time, to the point of worshipping Vishnu. So Pancharatrika system is like, what's the point of going through all these things and coming to the point of worshipping Vishnu? Directly worship Vishnu and then catch hold. And Vishnu is like very, very purifying. He can purify anything and everything. So that's the power of this one, the Pancharatrika system. So even the Varnashrama system, so it is mentioned, Varnashrama acharavata pumsam purushena parapuman Vishnu aradhyate panta na anyat tattosha karanat. So it's like the Varnashram, the whole institution is centered around Vishnu worship. But then, Vishnu is kept in the center, but they will try to fulfill their propensities and other things. Other desires are there. Now, of course, we will root everything through Vishnu, but then we have some personal desires and personal ambitions and things like that. Then it takes a lot of time. Because Vishnu is there in the system, that's how they are able to make progress, even life after life, like that. So, if Vishnu is not there in the system only, then it is like completely gone, right? So, but then in Pancharatrika system, it's very, very powerful. Okay, Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purushakyani Ato Viduhu Ekam tu Mahata Shushtar Vitiyam Tva Andasamsthitam Tritiyam Sarvabhutastam Tani Nyatva Vimuchyate. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes three Vishnus. The first one is Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as the Mahatattva. And the second, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third one, Shirodakashai Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading super soul in all the universes and is both as Paramatma, and is known as Paramatma. Right? So the Shirodakshai Vishnu is the one who is known as Paramatma, who is residing in everyone's heart. And the Garbhodakshai Vishnu is considered to be the Paramatma of the entire one universe. And Karanodakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu is considered to be the Paramatma of the entire material creation, which comprises of many, many universes. So in this way, we can see that these various Paramatmas are there. And specifically, the last one, the Shirodakshai Vishnu. So he is called as the Paramatma because he is the one who is there in the individual living entities' hearts. So he is present even in the atoms. Anyone who knows the three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement, right? So this offers liberation. So knowing three Vishnus, you cannot go to Vaikuntha. So it's not possible. If you know the Purusha avatar, no, then you can get liberation, but you cannot go to Vaikuntha. So that's the Paramatma realization. So Dhyana yogis, they focus on Paramatma, right? So what's their destination? It's like liberation. They can get liberation. That's all. They'll just get out of the material world. They cannot enter into spiritual world. So the material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God or Krishna assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities and that the living entities are the Purushas, the cause, controllers, and enjoyers of material energy. So this is our misconception. We think that we are Purusha. So like everybody is working in that sense only. So how are people working? Like, okay, I have to work, earn a lot of money. Why? Because my future has to be very nice. So for that, I have to take money. I have to get money. I have to work very hard. So that's this one. So in the Gita overview session, so we were giving this 3-point. This one, you happen to attend that? No. You happen to attend that yesterday? No. So in that we see that the living entity is there, and the Paramatma is there, and the material nature is there. So living entity desires, and Paramatma sanctions, and then the material nature executes it. Right. So now what we are trying to do, I want to secure a better position in the material nature. So what should I do? I should work with the material nature, and I should make sure my position is secure. But unfortunately, the material nature doesn't function based on my order. I desire, and the Supreme Lord has to sanction. And if I remove him from the equation, material nature will be like a weird thing for us. I'll try to control the material nature, and sometimes it seems like the way I want it is working, but then other times it doesn't work, and I'm trying to figure out like what's happening here. Maybe like I've not found out something well. Like, no, I have to make it a little more, make my plants a little more robust and things like that. They keep meddling around material nature, and it has been time immemorial. The scientists have been meddling around with the material nature, and they have never come to an end. They have never come to perfection and things like that. So simple thing is they're missing one element in the equation, that is the Paramatma. So if we remove the one element in the equation, the answer will look very weird. Every time you'll get different answers. So that's what is happening. So now when people know that if I want to secure my future, so if I get the favor of the Lord, then my future is secured. So that's why devotees, like, everybody wants to secure their future. The materialists, they think that I control my material nature and I can secure my future. And devotees, they also are worried about their future. And this is like, no, Bhagwan hai, like if he's telling that I will protect you all the time, it's like, Badiya's future security hai. We can go to him. And if you surrender to him, he's going to take care of my future. So it's good. So that's intelligence. And the goal is the one. Everybody wants the same thing, but then no, it is according to their understanding they act. So the people in general, they act as purushas. One who controls the material nature is called a purusha, and actually the Lord is a purusha who controls the material nature, and we think that we are purusha and we try to control the material nature. So that's a problem, right? So what is purusha? The causes, the living entity thinks that I am the cause of things which I am doing. So whereas Bhagavad Gita says, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Right? So Prakriti is doing everything. And then ahankara vimudatma, out of false identification as Purusha, ahankara means false identification. I am also a Prakriti. The next sloka we will understand. I am also a Prakriti. But then out of false identification, I am thinking I am Purusha. So actually the cause is either the material nature or the Supreme Lord's sanction. So I think I am the Purusha, and then I try to control. I am the cause of things, and I am the controller, and I am the enjoyer. I am the enjoyer of things which is there. So that's a problem. Like, the who can enjoy a property? Whoever is the owner, he should enjoy. And then scriptures very clearly say, like, Ishavasham idam sarvam etkincham jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita magrata kasya suddhanam. Everything that exists belongs to Krishna, right? So it's very, very simple. So he should be the enjoyer. So the moment we think we are Purushas, we think we are the cause, we are the controller, we are the enjoyers. So that's why in the end of fifth chapter, we saw Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasham Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Nyatvam Mam Shanti Mrichati. So all these three things are negated there. So the Lord says that I am the proprietor of everything, I am the enjoyer of everything, and I am the best well-wishing friend of all living entities. So that means like I'm not Purusha. No, Lord is a Purusha. Right? So he's telling that, okay, the Lord is not saying, okay, big things, no, I am owner of. Like, okay, there are other Purushas are there. They also own some things. The Lord is not telling like that. No, I am the owner of everything that exists. So, no, there is no possibility of two Purushas existing because he owns everything. Okay. So according to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In this verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of material manifestations are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahma Jyoti, which is the ultimate goal of impersonalist, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita itself. Right? So Brahma Jyoti is also a spiritual energy which is manifested by the Lord. So there are no spiritual diversities in the Brahma Jyoti as there are in the Vaikuntha Lokas. And the impersonalists accept this Brahma Jyoti as ultimate eternal goal. No, it is like absence of material things, that's all. So without spiritual variety. So, and the impersonalists, they make that as the goal. So the Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all pervasive aspect of Shirodakashai Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. That means the Paramatma manifestation is not present in the spiritual world. No, it is present only in the material world. No, so the Lord needs to go around and direct and control and things like that only in the material world. no chupa chupi, like no, all these things have to be done. In spiritual world, everything is open. No, so there, the Paramatma manifestation of the Lord is not there. So the Purusha avatar are limited to the material realm. No, they are not there in the spiritual world. Okay, so the Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna. So this also goes to say that Dhyana Yoga, if somebody wants to attain perfection in Dhyana Yoga, where their focus is on Paramatma, so will they be able to go to the spiritual world? Paramatma himself doesn't go to spiritual world. No, he is only there in the material world. Then how he can go to a person who is meditating on Paramatma feature of the Lord? How he will be able to enter into the spiritual world? It's not possible. Okay, and then Paramatma, okay, therefore the absolute truth, the supreme personality of God, Krishna, he is the complete energetic person, and he possesses different separated and internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestation are 8, and as above mentioned, out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations. This is called as Panchabhut, right? So Pancha Mahabhut, it is called as. So that is like 5 great, gigantic creations, or the gross creations, right? Within these 5 sense objects, or what is that? 5 gigantic creations or gross creations. Within these, within which the 5 sense objects are included. So actually speaking, this is only very brief summary of all the material elements is given here. No, what is the actual summary of all the material elements? What all? How many in number? Apart from this earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. Huh? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, karmendriyam, jnanendriyam. So what is karmendriya? Hands, legs, speech, right? And then like evacuation, and these are all like karmendriyas. And jnanendriya means knowledge acquiring senses. So eyes, we can acquire knowledge through eyes. Nose, we can acquire knowledge through nose because we can smell. Taste, ears, and then touch. All these things. These are all jnanendriyas. So karmendriyas means working senses, and jnanendriyas means knowledge acquiring senses. 5 plus 5, 10 ho gaya. And then the 5 panchabhutas are there, right? So how much it is total? 15. So, and then what else is there? Okay, so that is okay. So mind, intelligence, and false ego, it becomes 18. Still, it doesn't come. Still, it doesn't come. So 5 tanmatras, sense objects. For eyes, vision. For nose, the smell. For the tongue, the taste. For ears, the sound vibration. And then for the touch, it is like the sensation of touch. So for the skin. So these are all put together. If you put the 5, add 5 more. So then it becomes 23. What is the 24th? The sum total of all the material energy, Mahatattva. So that's one entity, and then that comes into many different varieties. Then after that, there is soul and super soul. So these are all the entities. This is how the Sankhya yoga system actually works, right? So Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar is also added into it. So 5 Panchamahabhuta, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 sense objects. It became 20, and then mind, intelligence, and false ego 23, and then this one Mahatattva is 24, and then the soul and super soul, so 25 and 26, right? So in the Gita course, we have an exclusive session on this thing, progression of different kinds of religion, world religions compared. So in that way, in that we see these 24 elements are there, and certain they actually handle only certain amount of elements into it. The philosophy, they may just club everything together, and then they may just omit other things. So in this way, we see that this is a very important principle here. All these different divisions are there. So here, it's here when Krishna says only 8, he actually clubs everything together. No, he clubs the karmendriya, jnanendriya, and tanmatra into this 5 elements only. No, so it can, this 5 can be expanded into 20. No, so like that. Okay, so they are manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. The material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. So, if we are trying to work with this material world, and if we are trying to make a peaceful existence in this material world, so any environment, if I want to handle the things in that environment, I need to know how this environment functions. And the materialists also have their own philosophy, know how this environment functions, but they are able to take only 10 elements into account. And mind, intelligence, and false ego, they cannot do anything with that because it's beyond their conception. Okay, maybe some psychiatrists, some philosophers, they are dealing with mind and intelligence a little bit, but then false ego, they don't understand. Then after that, there is the soul is there, and there is super soul is there. So without all these elements put together in account, how on earth they can actually understand how the things are functioning in this world? Always they will go wrong in their calculation, and always they'll be frustrated in their attempts. So because they don't understand everything in full, so their work will be incomplete, or their analysis or their philosophy will be incomplete, right? So philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Here it's mentioned that I think the physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So that is tanmatras. They are added into, they are counted in the this one. What is that? 5 Panchamahabhuta. And then here, Prabhupada is mentioning that this false ego actually consists of the sense organs. So they include the 10 sense organs, that is working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. So Prabhupada says like it is clubbed in the false ego category. Okay, so anyways, the 20 to 24, what we saw, it is clubbed into this 8. That's intelligence refers to the total material creation called Mahatattva. So the Mahatattva is clubbed into the intelligence aspect. And then therefore, from the 8 separated energy of the Lord are manifest the 24 elements of the material world, which are subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. So why it is atheistic philosophy? Because they come to this level of understanding, but they don't understand the soul, super soul. So that is why they're atheistic. So they are originally offshoots of Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But the atheistic Sankhya philosophers with poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so text 5, aparyayamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam daryate jahat. So here it's mentioned, besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of material inferior nature. So here we see that aparyayam, itastu anyam. Till now, whatever I have told, Bhumi, Rapa, Anala, Vayu, these are all apara. These are all para means like superior and apara means inferior. So till now, whatever I have told is like apara, but then itastu anyam, apart from this, there is something else also there in this world. What is that? Prakritim vidyame param. There is a para prakriti that is there. My superior energy is also there in this world. What is that superior energy? Jiva bhutam. They are like the living entities, the spirit souls. And Yedam dharyate jagat. What are these energies? The Lord's energy, like Prakriti means Lord's energy. This material energy is one energy, and the spiritual energy is another energy. And what is the spiritual energy doing? Yedam dharyate jagat. They are like trying to exploit this material nature. So one energy of the Lord is trying to exploit another energy of the Lord. That's what is happening here, right? And without the consent of the Lord. Okay, so purport. Here it is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross, that is earth, the first five elements, Panchamahabhuta, and the subtle, that is mind, intelligence, and false ego, are products of the inferior energy. All of them are categorized below inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. So if the spirit souls are not there, nothing will move in this material world. There's no desire. Nobody is there to desire anything. Nobody is there to do anything. So it's like it'll just be there at rest. So the living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are superior energy of the Lord, and it is due to this energy the entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy. So that matter cannot move on its own. No, the living entity must be there. Okay, energies are always controlled by energetic, and therefore living entities are always controlled by the Lord. No, we are energy, right? We are Prakriti, so we are controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. The distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 1087:30 as follows. अपरिमिता ध्रुवस्तनुभृतो यदि सर्वगतास् तर्हि न शास्यति नियमो ध्रुव नेत्रता अजनि च यन्मयं तद् विमुच्य नियंत्र भवेत् समम अनुजानताम यद अमतं मत दुष्टया. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordships, then they are at once subjected to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion. So, this is a statement from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto. So, the Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior nature, that is the matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets its real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from influence of illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks, I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respect with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi energies of Krishna. And when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. Now, here we see that no, the we are just only one factor. In Gita overview session also we were mentioning we are just only one factor. Krishna has many different energies, and all of them are functioning in very wonderful way. Parasha Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate, no Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So, but then the living entity of all the controls, the various Krishna has delegated power to the Devatas. No, they are also controlling. No, Krishna has delegated many different powers to many living entities, and he is having so many energies. Material energy is there. So many energies are there. Amongst all these things, still I think I can control things. So that's the difficult part. That's the most ironical part in the whole thing, right? So in this way, we can actually see that these two slokas, what we discussed today, It's very, very important. Fourth and fifth of seventh chapter. This actually gives how Krishna is the master of everything, and technically also we can understand that everything that exists belongs to Krishna. It is his energy, and we should be, if we are also property of Krishna, then we should engage in service of Krishna. So that becomes very clear. Okay, so today we will stop here. I have some other engagements now. So thank you all very much for joining. And I think those who have attended yesterday's Gita session, you might have got to know we are also doing it on 25th, the Vaikuntha Ekadashi or Mokshada Ekadashi day, and we will be having most probably 8 or 9 languages. The Gita session will happen on that day, and I very shortly we will be sending out the messages for all these different languages and timings and things like that. So kindly propagate it as much as possible, and then if you have any ideas of how to propagate them, how to propagate this this program on 25th, your ideas are welcome. You can actually put it in the group, our reading group. So then we can discuss, and we can try to do something, like we can try to get many people for this session. After yesterday's session, almost close to 15, 16 people had purchased books from our online store. So that's a very nice this one. We can try to do some good book distribution through this programs. Okay, so thank you all very much for joining. So we will finish the session today here, and we will meet again tomorrow. So meanwhile, look out for the message for the 25th program. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki jai. Hare Krishna.